Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the best damn pod in the land. It is Buckeye Friday. Welcome to the weekend. Thank goodness. Dan, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Looking forward to the weekend. One day closer to spring practice.
Yep.
It's all good.
Less than a week. 6 days.
6 days.
Next Thursday.
Wait,
no.
No, 2 weeks.
No, that's not right. It's the 7th. 2 weeks.
Right.
2 weeks away. Yeah, 13 days.
Can't tease me like that, brother.
Well, I'm just wishing time away, I guess, because we need to see some football.
We need a couple booms between now and then on the recruiting trail. Things are getting quiet. I'm getting uneasy.
We'll talk about it in a minute, but the Buckeyes hired somebody else yesterday.
That is very true.
So I guess today's a special anniversary for the United States, huh?
Yeah, if you get a look, I've got my authentic 1980 U.S. hockey jersey on to commemorate yesterday's 44th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. And if you want to see me light up and geek out like a little kid, it's my family, it's Ohio State football, and it's the 80 Olympic hockey team. So
all right.
I appreciate you giving me a few minutes to chat about this a little bit and share a few stories. So I know we've got Jacob listening. He asked us to talk about hockey. I dropped him a quick message on Twitter this morning and told him we'd be covering this. So appreciate it. So I'm just going to dive in. So yesterday was the 44th anniversary. Probably the first big sports moment memory in my life. I was 8 years old, and I'll never forget it. It was a Friday, obviously February 22nd. I'm trying to figure out why I wasn't in school. I'm thinking it might have been a President's Weekend or a long weekend or something, but I know for a fact I was at the hockey rink in Brooklyn, Ohio. And, the game was being played at 5 o'clock Eastern, and it was not being televised until 8 o'clock. The U.S. actually asked the Soviets if they could move it to 8 o'clock into that prime time spot since it was being filmed live, or it would have been shown live at that point, and they rejected it. So little morsel there. So think about this for a moment. We're at the rink. We know the game's going on, and everybody made a commitment not to spoil it for anybody because we wanted to rush home and watch it on tape delay. Not going to happen today, right? Like, it's just not going to happen. No one's going to keep a score of a game like that secret. So we rush home. I get home just in time for the game. I'm still in my hockey equipment. I hunker down in the middle of my parents' living room floor. And since it was on tape delay, there were no commercial breaks. The intermissions were like 30 seconds, right? So they just played the whole game. Yeah, I mean, different world than it is today, right? Can you imagine the commercials and the money spend that would be taking place on something like that today?
That would be nuts.
So I didn't want to miss a second. I watched the game in my parents' living room in my hockey equipment. I literally peed in my equipment twice watching that game because I didn't want to miss a second. So I just divulged a secret of hockey players are known to, if you're in the middle of a shift or you're on the bench and it's the middle of a period and you got to go, right? So I wasn't the first, nor was I the last.
No.
But anyways, we watched that game, and then, it was just unbelievable, and I didn't know anything about politics at that point and what was really going on in the world. I just knew it was a bunch of amateurs, a bunch of, the evil Soviets, right? Cold War, Gorbachev, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, you fast forward to 2004, and they came out with the movie Miracle.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, and I remember the build up to that, and I'm like, man, I hope this isn't like some sort of Youngblood movie where the guys can't even skate. And I saw that, and I paid every time. I saw it 8 times in the first 7 days in the theater.
Jeez.
I did not pee myself during those screenings.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and so is the movie theater.
But that's how it was. Just a huge moment, and I obviously played hockey my whole life through college, and it was just a big sports moment for me. But, a couple other stories about that. I thought they did a fantastic job with that movie. There were maybe a couple dramatizations in there, right? But for the most part, they had Herb Brooks that, was available during the principal shooting of that. And then, he unfortunately died in a one-person car accident shortly before the movie came out. But it was pretty accurate. A couple things were, Disney-fied. But the best thing they did with that movie is they hired hockey players and taught them how to act.
Huh?
And then what they did was they took the original footage of the game and they watched it, and then they basically recreated it frame by frame. So a lot of the hockey action that you see in there is literally a recreation of what actually happened. So pretty cool.
Okay.
And then the last thing, yeah. And then the last thing before, I know I'm hijacking this, so I appreciate it.
Oh no, you're good, man. I'm learning a lot. So
yeah,
we have a little bit of a difference in our ages. So I was like about a year old when that happened. So I know it was a big deal, and I remember when the movie came out, it re-solidified that. But I remember the Mr. Gorbachev tear down that wall, that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Another cool thing about the filming of the movie is that they hired Al Michaels to try to re-record his call of the game, and they tried dozens of times for him to recapture the "Do you believe in miracles? Yes" line, and they ultimately went with the original call in the movie because they just couldn't recapture it.
Yeah, the excitement,
such a special moment. Lastly, related to this, in 2004, I moved to Atlanta. And about a year after I was there, I was selling homes, and I met this really sweet older Russian couple. And this game came up. And I was fascinated because they told me about the game from their perspective. They're over there in the Soviet Union. And they told me, they said, listen, half of our people were rooting for you because it was a direct indictment on the current political regime in the Soviet Union at the time.
Interesting.
They said we had to keep it to ourselves or else we would have been killed. But you can rest assured that half our country was rooting for your young players is the way they phrased it. So it was pretty cool. But anyway,
yeah. Very cool. Yeah, that's a cool story, man. I am a big history nerd, so sometime we should talk about that because I'd love to hear their perspective. But we will, we honor that win, and it was such a big win at the time. And I think looking back, it might have changed it did change the trajectory of the Cold War, I think. So, all right, Buckeye football. So interesting news and notes. Ohio State has hired another defensive program assistant. That's the official title. BT Jordan. Coming from the Seahawks staff. And prior to that, he was Michigan State's pass rush specialist. I shared on Twitter last night the number of NFL players he's coached. Yeah. And it's significant. Make of that what you will, but it's a nice hire. And he got the heck out of Michigan State before all the stuff with Mel Tucker. So, the old whacker. So this is a family show.
Yeah,
we'll leave it at that.
Mel, just hang up, buddy. Hang up, Mel.
Yeah. So what do you make of it? So
go ahead.
I was just gonna say I had multiple questions in my DMs and in the comments if that was LJ's replacement, and I said,
yeah, who knows if it's LJ's replacement, right? I think that, every good coach, every great leader, they're always building their bench strength. They're always starting to think about plan B and things like that. And at a place like Ohio State, obviously Ryan's going to have his pick of the litter, if and when.
He's literally just going around picking who he wants.
At this point he is. And, I almost said if and when LJ retires. It reminds me, I had an aunt that lived to 104, and when she was about 96, she started saying, if I die instead of when I die. But yeah, LJ obviously is not going to be there forever. Who knows? At the end of the day, he doesn't have a tremendous amount of in-game coaching experience or even in the classroom coaching experience. But, in today's game, street cred is so important when it comes to recruiting. And, he's got the street cred. It's no different than Tim Walton, pulling up that clip of Jalen Ramsey saying he's the best coach I've ever had, period.
Yep.
Right. So, I think it's nothing but positive. Where it goes, who knows? But it's another great voice, another great name on the trail or, on the phone anyways.
I like it, and he can't be on the trail, but I like the hire. And interestingly enough, it is not a name I had in my bucket of names with hats that I thought Ohio State might bring in. So interesting. That there was a lot of there were a lot of names thrown out there, including I can't remember the younger coach's name that's at Ole Miss that was LJ's, like he was his mentor, and now he's at Ole Miss and doing some things. But he was one of them that, there was a lot of speculation that could have been in the fold for that 10th coaching position along with Jason Taylor.
Yep.
And I did what I said I would never do, is I went down a rabbit hole a while back with somebody saying that Jason Taylor hates Ohio State. And I said, you do realize he went to Akron, right? And he's from Pittsburgh. So if he did that, it's probably lip service to the Miami people because he played at Miami, played for the Dolphins. But I looked for clips. I could never find anything about him saying that. That's a really weird rabbit trail with this. But,
where did Bo Schembechler start his coaching career?
The Ohio State University.
Right. Yeah. So I think that opportunity trumps childhood feelings. Yeah. That's what I meant by opportunity. The bag.
So, the other news that came out is Ohio State is tentatively scheduled to play Northwestern for their homecoming game at Wrigley Field. I don't know how to feel about that. Now, I've been to Wrigley for a baseball game, and I followed some of the rabbit trail that Byrne was on, being worried about injuries on a baseball field. So, and questioning why they don't just play at Soldier Field. So where are you at with that? What do you think? I think it's kind of cool, but
I think it's cute. Right? It's cute.
Okay, football and cute. All right, got it.
The lovable Cubbies breaking into the college football world.
I don't like the Cubs.
Northwestern, they need to get serious about football. Now, granted, this is a result of them investing and building a really nice.
It looks really beautiful.
Yeah. It looks sharp. So, you know what? I don't know. I mean, it'd be fun. I'll be lying to you if I didn't tell you that I said to myself, that'd kind of be cool. Go take a trip up there. But then I thought about dealing with all the Chicago Cub fans. So, that are probably going to be at the game, and probably mostly Cub fans, on the Northwestern side, just because it's Wrigley. They think they're going to get to show up and listen to Harry Carey do the 7th inning stretch. But it'll be fun. I got a buddy here who is a big Northwestern fan, and he said that when they played games there originally, it was a disaster, but they've apparently reconfigured the field setup, and that it's a lot better now. So this is the question I posed in my brain, and I was talking to a friend of mine locally about it. What if you go to Wrigley, and let's say Travion breaks a run like he did against Notre Dame, but he hits the end zone and can't stop, and he tears his ACL, and he's out for the rest of the season, and it impacts your national championship hopes because you're playing somewhere that it's not a football field. Yeah. It's not meant to be played like that. How are you going to feel then? So I like the word cute because, but I think it may, so from a really cool opportunity, nostalgia, old stadium, Wrigley Field, homecoming, for Northwestern, cool. Okay, great, cute, whatever. But let's play at Soldier Field, guys. Come on. Yeah.
Just move it to Soldier Field.
Yeah, they're probably worried about it just feeling too empty, quite honestly, at Soldier Field. So you think Trey's going to do a Bo Jackson and try to look for the tunnel and just keep running?
Yeah, well, that's what I would do. I would, if it were me, I wouldn't want to try to rip anything. So just saying.
I don't know. I'd have to see the configuration to know if I'd be worried about that.
I'll send it to you. I have it. I have a picture of it.
I've seen it. Is that actually it?
That's actually it. That's what at least as far as the details that I've seen. Now, I'm sure, we're worrying about something that's happening in November, but we'll see if something changes between now and then. I wanted to get your thoughts on it. We haven't talked about it before. It kind of bugs me a little bit, to be honest. So, I don't know. I just don't want to see somebody get hurt that doesn't need to get hurt because we're playing somewhere we shouldn't be playing.
Yeah, I think it's more suited for a winter classic in the NHL than it is for a college football game.
Yeah, put the ice in the middle of the field and let's go. All right, so moving on from that, so I don't know. I think we talked about this a little bit last time, but then there was an article that came out in Bucknuts that said Ohio State, and then this was confirmed by Bill Landis on the pod, that they may not be looking for a transfer portal right tackle because they like what they have in Luke Integra, which tells me Josh Myers is probably going to play right guard.
Josh Fryer.
But what do you think? Or Josh Myers. Gosh, man, I'm back in 2015 all of a sudden.
Don't tease me like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, what do you think about that?
So, you know what? I've been thinking about it a lot, and I think that if there's one unit on the field that can be collectively better as a group than the sum of its parts, it's the offensive line.
Okay.
I think that Fry going into his third year is probably about to hit his stride. I think the fact that, him and Chip Kelly have coached together before, and, he was responsible for the line, and
was it you that
tandem on that?
I don't mean to interrupt you. Was it you that told me that Chip Kelly and Justin Fry, that was when Fry had his best production from an offensive line, like his second year at UCLA?
Yeah.
Under Chip. Was it that you?
Yeah. I don't know if it was me or if we talked about it, but that's true.
Okay.
I'm really optimistic about the offensive line. I think that, if there's a unit where you can take a bunch of 3-stars and have them work together as, a 5-star unit, that's it. So I love the idea of Tegra. I think he's got a nasty streak in him that we're missing.
Okay.
And then Luke, there are some clips of him last year being vocal and a little bit of a leader as a true freshman. He's an Ohio kid,
Yeah,
that's the
passionate.
that's the one position group where, I would love to see 5 Ohio kids lined up across the board.
Yeah.
And have that chip on their shoulder.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm okay with it. I am curious to see if I'm a little surprised there hasn't been more of a buzz with this kid out of SMU that just entered the portal. I mean,
he's technically an interior offensive lineman, though, that can play tackle, I thought.
I thought he played tackle.
He did. I'm not saying he can't play tackle.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of the sites were viewing him as an interior offensive lineman, but who knows? I'll be honest. After this news broke, unless something funky happens and coming out of spring ball, kind of like so last year, I think we all knew we needed 2 tackles and a center, and it was not going to be fun. And we didn't know we were going to have a Hensman. We didn't know. We thought Donnie was going to be okay. But honestly, I think Josh Simmons might turn into a day 2 pick in the NFL draft. Mm-hmm. So if they slide Fryer inside, that's where he played best in 2021 was at guard. His best game, and I think his future in the NFL is at guard. So I'm a proponent of them getting their best 5. So if that's Simmons, Jackson, McLaughlin, and then putting Fryer at guard and then letting Luke and Tegra figure out who the right tackle is going to be and then run with that. And the other guys are 6-man swingman because Tegra can also play guard. But keep it consistent and let those guys gel and work together a la 2015 or 2014, which is exactly what happened. Now, I'm not saying we're going to have that type of line, but thoughts? Do you feel that way? Do you think they should find their 5 and run that 5 and not do what they did last year where they had this person on this field and then that person on that field? You're with the 1s today and then you're with the 2s today. And I don't feel like there was any consistency and cohesion until like halfway through the season.
Yeah, that was a Joe Philbin thing that he brought over from the NFL. So it'll be interesting. I think he's moved on now officially.
He's gone. Yeah, he's gone.
But it'll be interesting to see, what Chip Kelly brings into that. I like that approach from a reps standpoint.
Exactly.
And I do think we need to do a much better job of getting our backups on the field throughout the season. But I can't Is it Chip Kelly that recently said that if he's got 2 kids and they're even, he's going with the younger kid every single time? That wasn't
It wasn't Chip Kelly, but I know the quote you're referring to. It might have been Jeff Halfley. Somebody is somehow associated with the program, I feel like, but
yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Fryer's not on the starting lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I would be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that so I think Tegra's a tackle. That's my thing. I think that's what I keep circling back around to. And I'm not counting out Carson Hinsman either. So you could be right. Hinsman could slide back to guard and be a stud because that's what he came in as. He was a guard, and then we moved him to center, which isn't uncommon. But so Hinsman could blow people away and play right guard, and then then you have a 3-way challenge for right tackle between Fryer, Tegra, and Luke. So I think there's going to be a lot of attention paid to that. But my personal opinion is we need clear 1s and clear 2s, and then the 2s need to be pushing the 1s, which we didn't have last year. So right. I'd rather have more 1s than not enough 1s.
Yeah. Well, I'm optimistic with this incoming group. I think the Armstrong twins and Ian Moore are going to hold their own. But going back to
I met them at the spring game.
The Armstrong twins?
Yeah, I bumped into them outside the stadium when they were leaving.
Bumped into them? Did you get a concussion?
No, I didn't get a concussion. But I literally, I was walking with one of my buddies and my brother, and I was like, Jamie, that's Deontay and Devontae Armstrong tackle commits for the class of 2024. And he's like, who? And I said, jokingly, but you could tell like they were bigger and taller than everybody. And I said hello, and they were very gracious and said hi back. So,
yeah. Going back to what it could be, it could be Tegra at tackle and Montgomery at guard. I mean, if we're talking about our 5 best.
Fair.
Very
fair.
We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so this was a question that one of our followers sent in, and somehow I couldn't find it in my, I went back through my history and couldn't find it. So I don't know if, I don't know what I did. So I apologize. If you're the person that asked this question, drop us a note in the comments because I'm sorry. But they said James Laurinaitis said he could see Sonny Styles being like Ohio State's version of Isaiah Simmons. So I had to look that up from Clemson. Do you like this idea in comparison? Why or why not? You want to go first?
No, you go.
Okay, thanks.
Unless you want me to. I'll go.
You go for it.
All right. Well, I think that James might be listening to our show because I'm almost positive I made this comparison two or 3 shows ago.
You might have.
I love it. I love the comparison if they use them like Isaiah Simmons.
Okay.
It goes back to my original concern that we talked about, I think, on that same show, is that I am incredibly worried that Sonny Styles is going to come and go through our program, and he's going to be an underperformer because he wasn't used correctly, and then he's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler.
Like Baron Browning.
Like Baron Browning, right? That's my biggest concern.
Yeah.
So if they use him like an Isaiah Simmons, then, he's an award winner, All-American at the college level. Hands down, no doubt about it. So I love the comparison. I just hope they use him like that.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, that's kind of where I landed. So I had to go back and look at some of the tape, just some highlights essentially on YouTube of Isaiah Simmons and how they used him. And so if for those of you that are not Clemson people or a little confused, I would say think the Leo or Jack position that on steroids. So he was everywhere. He was a ball hawk. And I was trying to think of what that position would remind me of. And if you're old enough and smart enough, and I'm not a Baltimore Ravens fan, but to remember Ed Reed.
Oh yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. So Ed Reed would come down the line and he would stick you, and he would cover wide receivers. And then he would play linebacker sometimes. And so Isaiah Simmons-esque, very much in that mold where he was just like, he was the defense. He was everywhere on the field. And that would be what turning Sonny loose would look like to me, where he is just like almost like assignment free football. Like you see ball, get ball, hit guy, So
Boucher.
He is Bobby Boucher, man. So I love the idea. Let's do it. Why the hell not? Please do something with Sonny Styles.
Yeah. Now that's not going to happen though, right?
No, it's not. But we can dream about it.
It's just not. It's not LJ's philosophy. It's not. I think Knowles has that philosophy.
Hang on, Ryan Day is calling me.
Okay.
Yes, you need to use Sonny that way.
Yeah. So I mean, I just don't see it happening. I think. Yeah. I mean, my best case for Sonny is that he is permanently at linebacker, and they blitz him when they can.
Yeah.
And when it makes sense, and that he has an impact that way. Honestly, I'd love to see him be another James Laurinaitis.
Yeah. Fair enough, man. All right. Well, that's basically going to do it for us today. One of the things I would just like to tell you guys I appreciate is that we've got a new Facebook page and people are following that. Our subscriptions are up, so thank you for subscribing and liking. And if you didn't notice, we shared that we've hit 1,000 views like in our first 5 pods, which is phenomenal. So thank you guys. I really appreciate all of you guys. So if you could like and subscribe, it definitely helps us kind of know what's going on and what content people like. Also, don't be afraid to ask us questions because we love them and we're not afraid to answer them. So Dan, last thoughts, man.
I'm just, 2 weeks away. Thank you for letting me hijack that for a little bit at the beginning.
No worries, man.
If it wasn't February, I probably wouldn't have done it, but thank you. Just having a blast, man. Seeing the viewership and the followers, increase is a lot of fun. Who'd have thunk it, right?
Yeah. Two dudes that didn't know each other 6 weeks ago. So yeah, maybe it's been longer than 6 weeks, but it's been great. And I appreciate you. Yeah. Appreciate you and appreciate the listeners. And so everybody have a good weekend. We are keeping our eye on something. We're not going to give it away, but there could be some big news drop this weekend. So if that happens, it's not related to Ohio State. It's related to another team in the Big Ten who shall remain Stallions. I mean, nameless.
Does that have something to do with tools? I'm seeing a hammer.
Yeah. Sonner Callions, I don't know, something like that. All right, yeah. So if that does happen, we'll hop on and give you our take on it. So again, enjoy the weekend, stay safe out there. Thanks everybody, and as always, go Bucks.
Go Bucks.